Starting off with our top stories this afternoon, security operatives have seized Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, the leader of the opposition National Unity Platform. Kyagulanyi, who arrived at Entebbe Airport from South Africa aboard RwandAir plane at about 10 a.m., was grabbed by plainclothed security operatives who forced him into a waiting car which drove off at breakneck speed from the airport through Entebbe town to his Magere home via the Entebbe Express. Kyagulanyi's supporters have spent close to a week mobilizing people to show up at Entebbe Airport to welcome the NUP leader and march to Magere in what was dubbed as the 1 million march. But the latest report that we do have is that chaos and tear gas have erupted in Magere near the leader's residence. Good afternoon to you, Andrew Magere.
We need that.
Very good question.
Is critically very simple. Media has been denied access into Robert Kyagulanyi's residence, and the supporters, call them the fans as well. They are rowdy and they have been stoning the police that is here. So it's more of a theater of tear gas, running battles between the supporters of NUP party and the police, as well as other security agencies. Earlier on our travel from Entebbe Expressway, we were stopped by the security operatives. Journalists were manhandled and they were badly beaten. A couple of those from BBS television, Baba TV and NBS television. And a couple of us just stood the ground and we said we're just doing our job. The way this has been handled from Entebbe to Magere, all streets have been manned and were stopped for close to 2 hours. That was around Entebbe Airport connecting to Magere. And later when we arrived at Magere, still his place is cordoned off. Those who know where Bobby Wine stays, from the Freedom Lane and about the entire area is all manned out by security agencies and police. And it's now a running battle of tear gas and stones, police versus the supporters. Just to bring you to speed, this was done because NUP had rallied the 1 million march to welcome back their party president. But today, police say that this won't happen. And this comes on the heels of the Uganda police notifying the NUP party members not to come on the streets to welcome the party president because it would distort a couple of businesses far and wide. So that is what I can actually give you for now. The situation is still tense.
To find out.
Many have been arrested.
Andrew, I want to find out the 1 million march. What is the essence and the objective of that march? Had it happened?
Well, it didn't happen, but I think it was all from the NUP, from the political side. If I was for the NUP party, possibly, I would have responded to that. But what we know so far, for now, that Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu was whisked away in a drone of a police force right straight to his Magere home, and we saw the leader of opposition, that is Matthias Impuga. He's actually with him at home. But so far, arrests are being made, and more, a lot of vandalism is happening in Magere, as many of his supporters and a couple of other youth who feel they have a right to go and talk to him, that they have not been given that chance. So that is what is happening so far. And it's starting to rain, so it's just getting much more theater of the occasion.
Sorry about the rain, but one last question. We have seen this very same situation with another opposition leader, Dr. Kizza Besigye, and his home was rounded off not just for hours, for a few days. Do you have expectations that that may be the same case scenario at Robert Kyagulanyi's residence in Magere?
Well, I think it depends on the script, if I can use the word script for now. Government has always said that opposition political leaders, as and when they're having processions, it has always affected the businesses of other Ugandans, peace-loving Ugandans, that at times it goes against their right to business. And in one way or the other, this could be the same way they're going to do it. It's a precedent we saw on Kizza Besigye, and this time around we are having it coming. What we're not sure, though, Priscilla, is if they're going to incarcerate him at home until further notice, because the tempers seem to be much more accelerated and amplified. It's tense up here, and there is a conversation that has been drumming on the digital platforms and other forums about what happens when he returns.
All right. The final question, Andrew. In terms of people to speak to, are there any officials, maybe the spokesperson, maybe the general secretary of the party, that you have had engagement with to find out what's happening on the other side?
Well, what we try
Or
to
do we expect a press conference later on?
We talked to a couple of members of parliament. We met in Entebbe, but given that it's all raining on this side, you're not so sure who is on the inside, apart from the opposition, because for him, he came because he has immunity, he's the leader of opposition and all that. But the others are still held up between Entebbe and Magere. So we had a chance to have an interaction, but those we talked to, they say this against the human rights, it's against the freedom of assembly, it's against the freedom of expression of their opinions, and we are waiting to see what more will become of a day like this.
All right, thank you so much, Andrew.